Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions. And you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Love and Marriage Detroit. This is season 2B. I think this is episode 10. I lost count. But anyways, I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Be sure to like this video. You can also share it and leave your comments below. If you are new here, go on and subscribe and hit that notification button so you can stay informed. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, so I didn't even realize this until after I think they announced it at the end of the scene, but they're still at the staycation. I didn't even know because I don't think that, well, it did not end, or it did not begin where it ended on the last episode. So that's why I thought, oh, we're still here. Okay, cool. But also, I wasn't thinking, okay, so what happened at the staycation either. So anyways, so the group is having, I guess, dinner, but basically they are on assignment. I believe production told them to do this. Basically, where are we? They talk about Kobe and seeing all the other pregnant women. Bravo brought it up. But Kobe said, I felt seen. So that was a very touching time for her, for the baby sprinkle. Christina and Kimberly, they are in a better place. I love it. I didn't know what the season would bring between really the whole group, specifically with Christina, Latoya, and Christina and Kimberly and all of that. But I'm glad that they knew how to work out their differences. This is a different set of people and a different set of a group. As I've said many times in my reviews, if you're looking for Huntsville in Detroit, you're not going to get it. And stop doing it. People were comparing Anthony and Brandon to Marcel and Martell. None of that. Y'all got PTSD and you got to let it go. So these folks, even though they stayed apart forever, I think for years or whatever, but they're not going to, they're going to make it do what it do and not try to hold on to things. And I get it. Again, Christina and Kimberly did not speak for years or whatever. But now that they were in a space where they were kind of forced to just speak to one another, they just had to let some things go and forgive. Latoya and Christina, long story short, they did call a truce. When things were happening with Chelsea and all that good stuff, they talked again and they're still moving forward. So that's cool. I think there will always be a clash there a little bit. And I think Chelsea is going to be a soft spot because she's still part of the drama that is within the group. Kobe and Christina. Kobe did say, I don't think that our relationship will be the same as it has before, but she sees that Christina is making small gestures and she believes that they are genuine. Christina in her confessionals was like, look, I am being genuine. If Kobe can't see that, I can't really help her to see it, and there's nothing more that I'm willing to do to allow her to see that. I think it's fair. I haven't been on Christina's side for a lot of things, but I mean, it's still fair. If you are showing evidence that you're stepping up and doing what your friend says that you need to do to help out in making this right, it's only up to that person to acknowledge it and accept it and move forward and move on. Because that's all I do. In a way, I just kind of keep people in the space until you show me something else. Some people offer what they call olive branches, which to me is a little bit performative. I get how you just want to move on and move forward, but if you're not really healed from a situation and you're just allowing the same thing, it's like, in a way, putting old wine in new bottles. You don't do that. They'll burst. I think in some type of situations, if you're not mending what has been broken and just starting with broken pieces is not really going to work for certain things. Everything you can just, some things you can just, let it go. Let's see, what's up. Brandon and Anthony. Brandon asked Anthony how much money has he put into Latoya's wine business in the last 6 months. Obviously, Brandon has a problem with how Anthony tries to. It's this competition that I think that really bugs Brandon. and how Anthony likes to talk about what he did and all that. It's like you can say something, but somehow he tries to outbid you in what he's doing, which is really more of a thing that Anthony has to deal with. You can call it insecurity or something, possibly because maybe he always have had to prove himself. He's been able to, and now he's able to basically throw the cards on the table flat out. I bet he would be something really crazy in a spades game. Now, I don't even know how to play it, but I've just seen how people have been during spades. I'm like, ooh, yeah, he would have been talking. I bet some fights would have broken out if Anthony was a part of some type of spades game. So LaToya was like, so we are counting pockets here. I don't know why my stuff got to be brought into all this stuff. Stay over there, you know. Bravo asked Russell in regards to everything he got going on, his military job, the other businesses, the gym, your wife, your child, your children, that one child that's coming pretty soon, you know. And basically Russell is trying to figure out how to balance all of that. And because of all the stuff that he's building, he's learning how to smell the flowers. Because some people can keep going and going and going and going and going and don't even realize the accomplishments you made because you think that you need to be all the way up here. Instead of celebrating where you're at right here, and then it causes you to lose out and then probably burn out because you're trying to do so much more than, at least at this level. Go on and celebrate it and enjoy it. He talks about military, and he wants to continue with the military for another 20 years. And Colby had the right reaction. Now, I laughed at it, but no. Look, Colby's like, sir, wait till I get you alone, because yet again you are making more decisions without even talking to me about it. That's not the, and Russell, and I love you, I do love you, I love you. That's not the way that you lead, because some people just think that if you're the leader, you just start doing stuff and there you go. And since they are believers of Christ and God, the Bible says that you got to submit to one another. It's not some dictatorship in a marriage. So guess what? Even though that there can be some decisions that you have to make kind of on your own, and as far as you leading the family, there's no way that you can block out your spouse in what you are pursuing or whatever decision that has been made, you know. Let's see. Marcel, he brings up a good point. He knows one marriage or one couple that decided to do 20 more years of service as far as the husband, and another couple where they did it and did not inform the wife on the whole situation, and they're divorced. The other couple is okay or whatnot. But including people on your plans that you're going to be tied to forever is very important. Anthony in his confessionals when he's with LaToya was saying, look, before you start talking, I think you need to run it by your boys so you don't sound stupid in front of your wife. And LaToya said, excuse me? I mean, it's good to get wisdom, especially if you don't want a certain type of reaction to what you want to bring up. So I think that's cool and all, but hey, LaToya had a little art concerning that. Christina, what's going on with your music career? She's struggling on if she wants to be a full-time artist or just someone that puts out albums. It's interesting, especially for your husband to be a part of this talent agency that gives these boot camps for artist performance and vocal training, you know. It's interesting for you to sit to the sidelines and just go into the studio and do your thing, you know. It could be, I'm not saying that it is, Christina, but it could be kind of a hindrance or road blockage towards your husband and his business, you know. Just saying. Brandon announces that, because Christina was talking about, I don't know if I want to do that because I have children and all that. Brandon feels like she puts those children on a pedestal and then everything else is kind of down here. And LaToya's in her confession was like, Brandon doesn't understand as a mother at the things that we do. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, where are my children going to be while I'm trying to be the next superstar. You know, where are you in these decisions? Are you going to be taking care of them? You're going to have care for my children at any given notice? So Brandon puts Christina on the spot and saying, in 7 days, you will be performing someplace. Christina is not feeling confident in that because she has stage fright and all that good stuff. Kimberly jumps in and says, she kind of agrees with Brandon. You got what you need on the inside of you, just let it out, blah, 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 blah. So everyone's giving her, oh wait, not yet, sorry. Yeah, because she was asking, okay, so where are my children going to be during this impromptu concert? Like, he said, well, you'll go to church all night. I think you're a part of those churches that pray all night, or at least part of the night. I don't know. But Brandon did make a point there. Now, for some reason, you can take them out to church, but can't come to hear mommy sing. I mean, I get it. Brandon says, I don't have no venue as of yet, but we'll get that together. Christina's got anxiety. And Christina's like, look, I can't have me flopping. I'm paraphrasing. And this is in the confessional. And Brandon was like, well, and I know you don't want it, or you're going to put it all on me. That's typically as it is. All right. So the next scene, Christina. She is practicing her song. It's called Final Destination. And Brandon did analyze that she's more in her head at trying to think of what she's singing instead of allowing the emotions to come out of the song. So she changed how she was operating within the song, and Brandon was more pleased with that. Bravo arrives, and then Chelsea arrives. The venue is going to be at Bravo's new place. Of course, they're friends, and he doesn't mind doing that. Everyone in the room gives encouragement to Christina against stage fright. Christina brings up that, hey, Chelsea, your name was being brought up a lot while we were on this vacation, da-da-da-da-da. And she said, oh, I know, I'm always the topic of discussion. I don't know who asked if it was Brandon or Bravo, but was Kristen okay? Is there anyone that you don't want to invite to your performance? And Christina said, no, I'm not in that type of opposition, da-da-da-da-da. Brandon says that, you can get a true and raw opinion from your haters. I'd have to say yes and no, because most of your haters are just going to lie, and some of your close people will lie to you. If you got a petty hater, just trust God. That's all I can say, and not man. Yeah. Russell and Colby, they talk a little bit about, being prepared for the new baby. Colby talked about futuristic, it's going to be a little while before Kendall and the new baby will be sharing their own room. Kendall will be 3 by the time that they'll be sharing a room, blah, 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 blah. Russell says that he's going to be spending as much time with Colby. The au pair does not arrive until, I think it was June of that year. So I think that was June 2024. You know what? Colby's baby is walking, and we still seeing her pregnant. Like, I don't know what OWN wants to do. Y'all want to pack everything on Fridays and Saturdays, and I think that those are good times, but something's got to give. I'm sorry. There's no way that this baby should be walking, and we're looking at the baby still in the stomach. on TV. Russell said that he's going to be there every step of the way while before the au pair gets there. And Colby in a confessional saying, I don't believe it that he's going to be there. Again, Russell was more hands-on on his first child. It's a little bit different on his second child. I don't think I take in consideration Russell and what may be on his head, because as leader, you have that added pressure, and as a man, of making sure everyone is taken care of in a different way. But I think that women are discounted for what they do as far as holding the family up, holding the home up. I think that I wish men and women would communicate more. I wish it was allowed for both genders or both spouses to be able to vent without trying to trash one another. I think that there's some things that men should not bring to their spouse, and this is in a heterosexual relationship, because it's just not going to be beneficial. It's not going to help give her the confidence that you're going to lead in this and that. Nobody's saying to hide your feelings, but there's always wisdom, and there's wisdom for women also in speaking with her spouse about certain things. They also said that it's going to be imperative that we carve out special time to spend with Kendall so that she knows that she's the first and all that good stuff. Because look, there's always rivalry between siblings, especially when the only one is all of a sudden added with another sibling that needs that same attention that you were getting. Bravo and Lakita, they go out to, what was the sunglasses place? Cartier, and I guess in Detroit area or Michigan area they call them yays. So I think Bravo's going to buy some for his wife. They get on the subject of shared locations. She wants it. She said, I think we need to be a little bit more like Brandon and Christina and share our locations. It's like, well, okay, sharing locations and overthinking could become a problem. I mean, still look at where their marriage came to or whatnot. But it's more of a safety thing. And Bravo said, look, you're not going to see much. I'm just going to be here and I'm going to be there. I will say this, although this is before sharing locations was a thing, or the technology we have, I would say 98% of the time, my mom knew where my dad was. Either my dad was at his job, which was at Caterpillar, or at home, or at different clubs. And not the clubs like now. I'm talking about where you can go play shuffleboard, which was a thing that he loved to do, and also play pool. He would be at either 3 different clubs. 4. Some closed down at one point. But whenever she needed to talk to him, I have no clue. But Dad would come out. Sometimes she would be riding with us, and then she'll go and find my dad to go talk about something. But she knew. Now, I don't know what has happened in the past before I got here, but who knows? But I don't think that she thought during those times that he was cheating. We always knew where he was. We could always see his car, this, there, and the other. When Mom would just drive by. All the time, I don't know why she was driving by. I think always to check to see if he was actually there or not, but, we knew. So they decided instantaneously, impromptu way by Lakita, let's share our locations. Boom. They do it right then and there. Okay. Christina's performance. She will be performing again at Bravo's new establishment. It's called Society Detroit. It looks really dope in there. So, bravo to you, Bravo. And I love how you are reshaping Detroit, brick by brick. Everyone arrives. Christina, she's still a little bit nervous, or I see her in the corner trying to make sure that she remembers the words and possibly the notes. Brandon was like, make sure that you don't cheat these high notes. I said, okay, go ahead, Brandon. I need to know if Brandon has a project out there. I need to know that because I want to hear him sing. Also Christina too. I want to hear him outside of what I have heard on Instagram. So Brandon, let me know. I need to know. Give me a link. Do you have like an artist name or something? You do underground stuff? Let me know. I need to hear your voice a whole lot more. I love it. Okay. Kobe says, I never heard Christina sing, but she said, hey, however God wants to use you, let's go on and do this thing. So Christina does her thing. I think there's a belt inside of Christina. Not so much like she got to how I was hearing the song, it was kind of light, especially in the beginning. After she did her first run, I felt like she was getting more confident in what she was doing. We didn't hear much of the song but anyways. It felt kind of popish, if you want to say that, as far as just it being that light. So, but good job, Christina, for the little bit that we did get to hear. The group is all together, and then the men depart. So we know what's coming up next. Chelsea is giving her feedback and encouragement to Christina, and then all of a sudden she says, do you feel a certain tension in the room? Because now you want to address LaToya, and possibly Colby. Kimberly's like, look, I think that there's a time and a place for everything, and possibly Chelsea should have pulled whomever she had some type of issue with to the side. I agree, Kimberly, because what are we doing? What are we doing? LaToya brings up on how she felt that Chelsea was at the podcast, and she feels like it was ghetto. Well, Chelsea said, well, I don't agree with ghetto, but I can say unprofessional. You think unprofessional is a less derogatory word, and that's why you don't want to own that. Even though everywhere you go to or you meet at, every confrontation ends up in you getting loud. Not that women can't, and especially black women can't be loud, but what are we doing? So they're going back and forth, LaToya says if you were taking shots at him, it was uncalled for. I don't understand why you were there, And she said, well, he was taking shots at me. Oh, then she said, well, you were taking shots at him, and then she's like, were you there? And you're just getting one side of the story. But why would she believe you? Why would she want your story? You already had a confrontation with her at the ring place. I'm telling you, I love y'all, but the Smiths, y'all are some sneaky folk. Y'all are some sneaky folk, because y'all have made sure that you brought Chelsea around to cause some mess. What was it? Make sure. Yeah, you weren't there, and you're only hearing one side of the story. And LaToya then was like, I don't even know why you were there. There was no point in you being there. Well, I'm her brand manager. LaToya's like, no, now you're a brand manager. And Colby was like, look, really, that was no place for you to be at as far as the things that you were carrying on. You're just now becoming this brand manager 2 days ago, and now you need to be in this space. So then Chelsea decides to go lower and saying, well, you just became an influencer 2 days ago. I don't think that either. That's a lie or whatever. So it's just fight fire with fire. Then all of a sudden, Christina says to Colby, you're doing a little bit too much. And Colby's like, well, what about her? She still had no answers for that. And I think that's where people get pissed off at Christina, because you allow your brand manager to run amok in this group. Run amok against this group. Then Christina was like, you know, it wasn't even about you, Colby, and Colby needs to let things go. It looks like you want to have an issue with me, and if this is how you want things to be, then that can be easily arranged. I am paraphrasing, but it's like, Christina, you don't check Chelsea. You don't check Chelsea. I don't see it at all. But you'll check your friends within the friend group. And I'm putting this like this. It's going to sound harsh and mean, but oh well. Chelsea, you're the help. Christina's getting you mixed up as friend and also an employee. And thinking those two can intermingle. It can, but not with her and how she wants to deal with this group. These are your friends within this social group. She don't belong here, and everything always ends up as to what's going on with them, with her, and what type of chaos comes with her. At this point, Russell just shut it down. Like, look, I see my wife's octave in her voice getting higher, and I just shut it down because no, that's not going to be happening to my wife. Everyone leaves, and we get in a confessional with Kimberly, because Kimberly first had to calm Chelsea down. Like, this is not the place, She had to go over to her. Kimberly actually knows her. Christina was sitting right next to her and did nothing and said nothing. But you did this to Colby. That's not cool. She says that LaToya and Colby, they feel slighted. And she thinks that they are valid with how they feel. That's kind of how it ended. And then they showed us a preview of the reunion. And wow. That last little statement by you, Mr. Brandon, is like, whoa. But I'm ready for the reunion. I think it's 2 parts. I think it is. But anyways, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Like this video, share it, give me your thoughts below. And until the next one, peace.